So it all started back in 2007. I was researching Tesla coils online because I was looking for a way to amplify an electrical charge, when for some reason, magnetic motor came up in the search results, and it hit me like a bolt of lightning that this was exactly what I should be working on. The image that entered my mind was that of a wind turbine. When you think of it, wind power turbines are basically a large propeller strapped to a device very similar to an alternator, like in your automobile. The wind hits the propeller, and that turns the alternator. Voila, you have electricity. So the idea itself seemed utterly simple to me. If you could design a wheel with the correct assortment and configuration of permanent magnets, you could turn a rotor that was also composed of magnets. Then if you strap that to an alternator, you'd have electricity, minus the need for wind. Better than solar, because you wouldn't have to rely on constant sunlight. Now I know there are physics laws that are thrown at this notion on a constant basis. Believe me, I've heard the arguments. But that's another story, and probably another video. Just imagine a world where you could drive your car or RV all over the country anytime you wished, without ever stopping for gas. You'd be free to go anywhere at any time, without there being a cost other than the cost of maintenance for your vehicle. Imagine a world where you never had to pay for another electric bill, where all of your electronics devices could be powered indefinitely. That's true freedom. You'd be off the grid and able to be anywhere you wanted at any time you chose to, free to explore life however you chose to. That's the kind of world I want to live in. And it's not as impossible of a dream as you may think. Now, why do I say that? Well, there are quite a few reasons actually. I'll give you a couple. Ever hear of Howard Johnson? Not the one that started the hotel chain. This guy. He believed there was an undiscovered electron that could boost a magnetic field by 500 times its normal strength by flipping the electron spin of a magnet for a fraction of a second. He was granted 3 magnetic motor patents after demonstrating his device. One was granted after a personal letter from President Jimmy Carter to the Patent Office, effectively ordering them to grant the patent after 6 years of legal hassling. When the President of the United States takes the time to write a personal letter for you, that's a good indication you're someone to be respected. Johnson not only believed it was possible to build a magnetic motor, he built one, which was promptly stolen out of his lab while hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of magnets were left untouched. The thieves knew exactly what they were stealing. Before it was stolen, though, at least 2 of Johnson's friends witnessed his motor working. People like to throw around physics laws to discount the possibility of such things, yet their credentials don't even come close to matching Howard Johnson's. Personally, I believe Johnson. Have you ever heard of Nikola Tesla? I'd be surprised if you hadn't. What I'd like to call your attention to is 2 of Tesla's lesser-known patents from 1901. Tesla not only discovered but harnessed the power of cosmic rays. Now, if you build a model to the exact specifications of his patent, you won't be powering anything substantial. These patents were more proof of concepts. However, do you think the man who had set birth to the 20th century couldn't, wouldn't, or didn't build a much better design? It isn't widely published, but there are sources that record an electric car that Tesla built a special device for. This device was said to harness radiant energy. The device was tested in this electric car for 8 days, driving at speeds up to 90 miles an hour. Tesla was quoted as saying that the energy the vehicle was drawing from was available in limitless quantities. It could not only power the car forever, but also the needs of a household, with power to spare. When Tesla said that man would eventually tie his technology to the very wheel of nature, he was speaking from his own experience, and while many may doubt such devices have existed, personally, I believe Tesla. Now I realize we live in a mostly petroleum-based world economy at the moment, so it's not something that'll happen overnight. It's not something that should happen too suddenly. It could be too damaging to the current system in place if the world tried to move forward too rapidly. Economies could falter or worse, but it's something that could and should happen over time, and some of us, who are forward-thinking enough, could end up leading the way for others to eventually follow. So after the magnetic motor bug bit me, so to speak, I began building design after design. The problem was, I realized after a while that while I was learning, most of what I was building was being torn apart in favor of new models without being adequately documented. So it was like there was nothing to show anyone other than my most current builds. So I began filming and photographing them, besides keeping the original design sketches, which I've always done. And eventually I was comfortable enough sharing what I was doing to put together this channel. The original idea being that by sharing the knowledge I've accumulated, someone out there somewhere might be able to take that knowledge and build from it. The more minds you get involved in solving a problem, the more likely you'll find a solution. So I don't hold back. Whether everything works exactly the way I intended when I built it, I still share, because it's about learning and growing. As long as you are constantly trying, you're moving forward. You have to learn to celebrate your failures, because if you allow yourself to, you can learn far more from your failures than from your successes. The key is to keep moving forward. I also have a lot of fun with my channel, so when mood hits me, I'll experiment with different ideas of alternative energy, and then I share with you what I find interesting. Since I've been pursuing alternative energy solutions, I've discovered hundreds and even thousands of others that are actively pursuing similar research. At this point, it's no longer if, but when it will happen.